Welcome to the Dreamlands. We are back with some more Homeworld Remastered multiplayer. Once again, we're going to be checking out a 2 versus 2. And this map is one that I'm personally not familiar with. It is called Fallen Lords. I believe it's part of some sort of map pack. Anyway, one of our players hosted it with all the appropriate mods, and he had the map pack, so apparently it's a pretty cool map. Anyway, let's get into player introductions. And then hopefully by the time we go through all of our 4 players, the game will be well underway. So first up, we are going to have yellow team spawning on the... What side of the map is this? North side. So on the north side of the map, yellow team first up, we are going to have Philothanic, a player that is relatively new to Remastered, but has been playing Deserts of Karak for some time, and is a friend of mine. I play a multitude of RTS games with him, and he is quite a solid RTS player all around. So he is going to be making his debut on the channel in Remastered. So everybody welcome Philothanic. His teammate is going to be a player that should need no introduction to anyone who has been around the Remastered scene for some time. It is going to be Fear. Fear is a top tier Homeworld Remastered player. And so I am very, very excited to have him making his debut on the channel. So Fear and Philothanic. Philo playing as the Kushan, and Fear has spawned in. He went random, and he has spawned in as Vagger. That's going to be a pretty darn interesting combination. All the way on the other side of the map, it is going to be red team. First up, we are going to have Algol spawning in as the Taidan. You may remember Algol from one of my earlier Remastered casts. Pretty cool guy, likes to do some very cheeky and interesting plays to match his personality, so should be pretty interesting to see what sort of Taidan shenanigans Algol comes up with for this game. And his teammate spawning in as the Kushan as well, it is going to be once again Xenofix. You will remember Xenofix from my previous cast, the very last one. He played a very, very strong game, a solid and accomplished player to be sure. So pretty exciting to have him showing up for Team Red. Let's take a look. We've already got a little bit of skirmishing going on, just a few scouts from Algol cleaning up a probe. What have we got here for builds? Let's check out yellow team first. For Philothanic, we do have the carrier moved out to a second resource patch. His main and his expansion have been saturated. Similarly, for Fear, we do have his main saturated, and his carrier has moved out to another resource patch, saturating that as well. We do have a ton of probes coming in from both Algol and Xenofix. Going to get that scouting information done. We do have a research ship on the field for Philothanic as well, as is to be expected. Look at all of these probes. Holy smokes, 1, 2, 3 probes, and a 4th that was previously cleaned up. So a lot of scouting coming out from red team. What does this map look like, since I'm not familiar with it? Oh, interesting. So we have a bunch of dust clouds behind each team's spawning position, as well as to the east and west. So yellow team to the north, red team to the south, east and west. We do have some dust clouds as well, and we do have, by the looks of it, how many resource pockets per player? 2 near their starting location, and couple out to the center, 1 in the dead center, which has a ton of RUs, and then spreading out east and west as well. So pretty neat setup. Unless I'm missing something, it looks like each player just has their main and 1 natural, and then the rest of the resources are spreading out to the center of the map. Going to be contested points for sure. Let's check out builds for red team. Xenofix has saturated his main. He has sent his carrier to his natural, saturated that as well. Similarly, oh, actually Algol is being cheeky already. So he sent his carrier to the middle of the map and tried to secure this middle resource location. Currently pumping out a massive amount of interceptors, both from his flagship and his carrier, as well as a number of scouts. Checking the east side of the map, scouts from Xenofix as well. And we do have interceptors from Philothanic. we have a second carrier or a resource controller? Okay, so we do have a resource controller now from Xenofix at his main, and he is moving out with his mothership, producing a ton of interceptors as well. So we've only got a single Homeworld 2 faction, and 3 Homeworld 1 factions. It is going to be Taidan and Kushan versus Vaegir and Kushan. And by the looks of it, Philo is just pumping out interceptors, and Algol is pumping out interceptors, and Xenofix pumping out interceptors and attack bombers. Let's check these guys out here. Now, Philo transitioning into light corvettes. So on the back of interceptors, pumping out a ton of light corvettes onto the field. Looks like he's producing the corvettes from his mothership and the interceptors from his carrier. Do we have any units on the field at all for Fear? We have a second carrier. Goodness, this is very interesting. So Fear has gone for what appears to be a macro build. Is he going to transition into assault frigates? I think that he might start double producing or triple producing even assault frigates if he has the appropriate facilities on each of his carriers. Now, this is something we can't avoid. We're just going to have to see the team chat for one of the teams, because I have to, as the spectator, even spawn on one team and then scuttle so that we can see yellow and red respectively. We do have some corvettes coming out. Oh, defenders now. Very interesting. So defenders for Algol as well as light corvettes. Look at this mass of units here. What have we got? Light corvettes, interceptors, and defenders from Algol, and then interceptors and attack bombers, by the looks of it, from Xenofix. And it looks like Team Red, the south spawning team, is about to go out for a push, doing a little bit of scouting with some scouts. Those are going to get picked off by the interceptors of Philothanic and try and pull some of his units away, while these units make a huge push across the west side of the map. Look at this beautiful sight. Our first proper engagement of the game. Whoa, let's make sure we can see the damn thing. Massive swarms of strike craft engaging each other, backed up by a ton of light corvettes from Philothanic. Let's get some footage of these corvettes here for the center of combat. Also have some attack bombers from Xenofix going in for a run at the mothership. What are they targeting? Are they trying to take down these corvettes as they spawn? No, they're going for the research ship. Oh, this is a neat play from Xenofix. Attack bombers making a run at Philo's research ship, going to try and slow down his tech progression. What do we have from Fear? Fear's coming out with both carriers and beginning to spawn missile corvettes from his mothership. What are these carriers producing? Currently no units yet. He's actually just pushing his carriers into mid and producing resource collectors as well. Going to try and secure mid. While this huge engagement goes on along the west side of the map, Philothanic looks like he has lost all of his strike craft, been completely overwhelmed by the huge numbers of strike craft from Algol, and he is now transitioning into just pure light corvettes, spawning more and more light corvettes while the interceptors swarm. Light corvettes from Algol backing them up. There we go. It was an assault frigate, so looks like we have the assault frigate opener from Fear moving forward with both of his carriers. I imagine he's going to be double producing assault frigates from those while he produces missile corvettes from his mothership. Now this is going to be super difficult to deal with for Algol. And in fact, Team Red as a whole, these assault frigates are incredibly strong. There's already 3 of them on the field, 4 now, and they are going to be super effective at cleaning up all of these strike craft as well as any corvettes that reinforce the battle. Philothanic looks to be holding his own. Now, Fear is a super experienced player, as I mentioned at the beginning, and so what I did with this match was I tried to make the teams even by setting one, similar to what I did last game, setting one experienced player with one newer player. So what we're seeing in chat is just Fear kind of giving a little bit of pointers to Philothanic, who is rather new to the game. Philo is doing pretty good, though. He's holding his own with a ridiculous amount of corvettes. Look at all these light corvettes. Good grief. Probably going to start mixing in multi-gun corvettes, I would imagine. Does he have any of them on the field? This looks like it's all light corvettes, just spamming light corvettes. Now being supported by one of Fear's carriers, spewing out assault frigates. Look at all of these assault frigates. So Fear has gone up to 3 resource locations now, both of his carriers out in mid, pumping out assault frigates. Very nice positioning here. This gives him the ability to support Philothanic as well as lock down mid. What do we have coming out from Xenofix? An ion cannon frigate. Really nice answer. With a little bit of micro. He needs to keep this thing alive, though. Can't let it get too close to these assault frigates. Okay, Philothanic is starting to turn the tide of combat on the west side of the map. You can see over here his sheer number of light corvettes is simply destroying that massive swarm of Algol's interceptors. Pretty much going to clean this up entirely and then push forward to support Fear. Xenofix being pretty damn ballsy, moving his mothership right into the front here and just spewing out ion cannon frigates. What is Algol doing? Algol is lagging a little bit behind. He is now spewing out more interceptors and attack bombers. And that's about it. Look at this. Splitting off 2 assault frigates to go and do some harassment onto Team Red's resourcing and draw their attention away from mid, where the push of the rest of his assault frigates continues pretty much unimpeded. He's just overran Xenofix's position, pushing deep in to Red Team's territory with a massive number of assault frigates. Oh god, Team Red is in a ton of trouble. Look at this. Philothanic has cleaned up all of Algol's forces and has an insane number of corvettes on the field. Just pure corvette by the looks of it. Even now that the interceptors have been cleaned up, mixing in a few interceptors of his own. Now that push was shut down pretty much entirely. Missile corvettes and assault frigates pushing in deep into Red's territory, cleaning up a ton of resource collectors. We do have some bombers coming in to make some runs on those frigates. Try to slow them down. More ion cannon frigates from Xenofix, spawning from both his carrier and the mothership by the looks of it, and gonna focus down these assault frigates. Meanwhile, the missile corvettes have just bypassed the entire fight and are making a run for the resource controller, I presume. And savage push from Fear. Good grief. No, they're going to focus down the resource collectors themselves, so trying to do as much economic damage as possible and push Team Red further and further from center and keep them off balance as long as possible. Xenofix in a ridiculous amount of trouble right now. He's being absolutely swarmed and overran. Look at all of these fucking corvettes. Holy Christ. So Philothanic able to hold the push along the west side and now bringing up his huge ball of corvettes to support Fear, who has now transitioned into heavy missile frigates on the back of his massive assault frigate and missile corvette push. Xenofix in so much trouble right now. He's going to have to basically forfeit this entire position because he's so overwhelmed with forces now. Look at all these heavy missile frigates. Good grief. Backed up as they are by light corvettes and even a handful of interceptors. What have we got here? Oh, we do have a destroyer coming out by the looks of it from... Yeah, that is a destroyer from Xenofix. As his mothership flees the battleground, the destroyer pops out to try and hold the line. More and more missile corvettes, more and more heavy missile frigates from Fear. Looks like he has a third carrier on the field and is now producing command corvettes to give those damage buffs to surrounding units, which is pretty damn strong. We have light corvettes and multi-gun corvettes from Philothanic, so staying on corvette tech, backing it up with a few interceptors, and looks like it is pure missile tech now from Fear, while Xenofix desperately tries to hold with this one destroyer and a handful of ion cannon frigates. Algol desperately producing more and more heavy corvettes, interceptors, and even a couple of assault frigates now to try and reinforce this front line. Algol's carrier in the front taking a ton of damage, trying to retreat, but it is getting focused down by all of these heavy missile frigates. What do we got here? A couple more ion cannon frigates. What is this thing? A Gravwell generator from Xenofix coming out, going to try and slow down the push, but no, it's focused down, taken out entirely. Let's try and get a bigger look at the battlefield here. What have we got? So ion cannon frigates from Xenofix, as well as his destroyer, and it looks like Algol is on heavy corvettes and assault frigates and interceptors from both Xeno and Algol. Can they stem the tide, though? Currently, doesn't look too good for them, man. They are getting so overwhelmed by just insane macro. 3 carriers now on the field for Fear. This destroyer is lasting a long time, though. He's cleaning up these heavy missile frigates. Problem is, all of these multi-gun corvettes, missile corvettes, as well as light corvettes from Yellow Team is just going to bypass this entire line while the heavy capital ships are engaged with trying to clean up all of these assault frigates and heavy missile frigates. Now assault frigates coming in, as well as ion cannon frigates coming in from Philothanic. Do we have another destroyer coming out onto the field? Yes, we do. A missile destroyer even. And this destroyer, oh, it finally goes down. Red team is holding on barely by the skin of their teeth, but they're slowly being overwhelmed. This heavy missile frigate is going to be focused down now by a ton of ion cannon beams and heavy missiles. Doesn't even have enough time to do any damage, really. Look at this carrier push by Fear. What a savage beggar play, man. Red team has just been totally collapsed in on. How long can they hold out? Xenofix has had to retreat all the way back to Algol's flagship. And they've been pretty much wiped out at this point. Just a couple ion cannon frigates now trying to focus down this carrier. But that is just too little too late. Man, Fear is a scary player, holy smokes. I've never actually played against him or with him before. This is a pretty damn strong Vegger style. Look at all of these frigates. Now with both armies from Xenofix and Algol pretty much entirely cleaned up, there is very much little that they can do at this point. It's just a matter of time. This huge ball of corvettes rampaging behind enemy lines, cleaning up all of their resourcing. I mean, Algol does have his carrier. Oh, Xenofix has a carrier over there, pardon me. Algol's flagship now starting to take a ton of damage as it is focused down by pretty much the entirety of this army. Look at all of these frigates, holy smokes. I just can't get over that. Get rid of these. There we go. And there goes Algol's flagship. Valiant last stand by red team. Oof. Oh, even catches a couple of ships in the blast. And ever the Taidan loyalist, Algol dies with his Emperor's words on his lips. So there we have it. That was pretty intense game. After a pretty solid push from Team Red in the early game, and a nice attempt at slowing down the tech from Xenofix, the superior macro and composition of Yellow Team, on the back of Fear's crazy double carrier assault frigate push, there really wasn't much that they could do. Both solid players, mind you, but Fear is a scary, scary guy. I really tried to make this game as balanced as possible because I couldn't find anyone that could 1v1 against Fear. So maybe a little bit of further tweaking would have been in order. Kind of a one-sided game, but nonetheless pretty damn spectacular. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I will see you for the next video. There she goes. Alright guys, see you for the next video.